What's up guys, and welcome back to the TCAD Tech video. And should you buy an Amazon Fire HD in 2022? Let's find out. So the Fire HD is Amazon's budget tablet. This one, the Fire HD 8, goes for around £90, around $90 as well in America, but actually in the US you can get it for around half price at the moment from places like Best Buy. So what are you getting for such a cheap tablet? Well, you're not getting good packaging, that's for sure. But other than that, let's find out. So opening up, you get the tablet. It comes in this plastic case. And then in the box, you can slide this out, get the charger and the paperwork. Alright, so. Oh, hang on a sec. This is USB Type-C. I was honest to God expecting micro USB for something so cheap, but that's a perk. At least you can use other chargers with this. Let's quickly go over the aesthetics of the tablet. It's a 8-inch tablet, so it's a small tablet. They have a 7-inch one as well, but I would not drop below this size. This is small enough as it is. It's got quite a wide aspect ratio, so it's really been designed to be held in this portrait mode. It's got a front-facing camera in the middle. It's got a rear-facing camera. It's made from plastic, obviously, but surprisingly you do have these dual firing stereo speakers, which can give that surround sound effect. On the side you have the volume buttons, the power button, USB Type-C like you mentioned, and a headphone jack, which is always a perk. And on the bottom we have a micro USB card. So this actually is a 32GB storage model, but it can be expanded up to 1TB, I believe. Inside we have 2GB of RAM and a MediaTek quad-core processor. So in other words, not much power. So turning it on, you can really see how small the size of the screen is now with these thick bezels. It becomes really prominent. This is quite an old design. I would say this is about a 5-year-old design for a tablet. Even something like this. This is my Samsung Galaxy Tab S6. This is 2 years old now, so it's no longer considered a new tablet. But just look at the difference in quality. Look at the bezels are much thinner. Obviously the screen's going to be much better. We'll talk about that screen as well. But again, you're paying, probably 10 times as much for something like this. Well, when it was new at least. Turning it on, unfortunately, the first thing that really pops out to me, well, pops out is the wrong word, that's really apparent is the poor quality of the display. It's only 1280 by 800 pixels, so in other words, it's got quite a low resolution. But more than that, it's not a vibrant display. It's an LCD display, which you would expect for this price point, but you can get so much better LCD displays. And obviously, like, I'm comparing it to my Tab S6, which is an AMOLED display, so the comparison's made very obvious in this case. The biggest hurdle, I guess, that most people are going to have to come across is its software. This does not run Android, or obviously iOS. This is running Amazon's own software, I don't know, Fire HD OS or something like that. It's a very stripped-back operating system. There's not much you can do. All your apps are placed in the home screen. You can just scroll up and down. You can reorganize and you can put into files, but there's no app drawer, let's say. Swipe to the left, you get a For You page. And then on the right, you get your library, which I'm guessing is supposed to contain maybe your recent apps, recent videos or suggested videos, recent music. In terms of the way it's laid out, it's quite familiar. Swipe down, settings, brightness, all that stuff. That's fine. They've not ventured too far off of Android here, which is great. However, because it's not running Android, and Android is a Google company, it doesn't have Google applications. So you don't have the Google Play Store, you have Amazon's App Store. Now, it has a lot of applications and I was very surprised at what it does have, but at the end of the day, I think it has around 500,000 applications compared to the millions that are in the Google Play Store and Apple's App Store. Now, most people use the same common app, so let's go through what you would mainly need in any device. Social media wise, the common ones are going to be Facebook, which pretty sure it has. Yep, Facebook, and it has Messenger as well. It's got Instagram. You're probably going to want TikTok. It's got TikTok, and it's got Twitter, and I think I also saw Twitch as well. So it's got a lot of the mainstream social media apps, which is great. If you're someone who uses a lot of social media, wants a big screen, I don't know, to see everything in all the glorious detail on Instagram, then great, this could be for you. This tablet is more than capable of running those types of apps. The next group of apps I want to talk about are gaming. So a lot of people buy tablets, iPads, things like that to improve their gaming. Now, this has some of those common puzzle games. So I saw Candy Crush somewhere already. It's got Angry Birds 2, which I've just downloaded. Again, so it does have some of those mainstream, non-graphically intensive games. But when it comes to the more graphically intensive ones, I doubt it would have it, just because this tablet wouldn't even run it in the first place. So for example, something like Call of Duty, yeah, so it doesn't have Call of Duty, for example. That's quite an intensive app. That's an application that I regularly play on my tablet. And yeah, it's a big, large file app. It has a lot of graphics to it. It needs a processing power, and this MediaTek chip, 2 GB of RAM, is just not gonna cut it. What's a popular one? Asphalt. Okay, all right. So Asphalt's another, and Beach Buggy as well. Asphalt in particular, that's quite a graphically intense game. I'm actually quite surprised it's here. Let's try downloading that, and then we'll give that a go later. Just because I'm curious to see how it's going to run on an application like this. Because just because it has that app, I don't know. I wonder if we'll be able to play it. So in terms of gaming, you're not really. We've got Minecraft as well, apparently. So in terms of gaming, you're not really missing out on too much. Unless if you're not picky about your games, you're not really a big gamer, you'll be fine with this, to be honest. The next category are those professional types of applications. So when it comes to creativity, a lot of people think of Adobe, Adobe Premiere, Adobe Photoshop, Lightroom, things like that. This won't have. Let's try the Microsoft application. Okay, so it's got some Microsoft applications. Microsoft Teams, Outlook, OneNote. I've just found this Microsoft Office app as well, which I've downloaded. And what that lets you do is actually, there we go. So through this app, you can create and open Word documents, Excel, PowerPoint, and Form. So I think this maybe uses like the cloud feature, so it's almost like Word Online, Excel Online. But through this app, you can create brand new PowerPoints. Obviously, a big feature of a tablet is going to be media consumption. That's probably the biggest reason why someone buys a tablet, is for that big screen. I mean, 8 inches is not that big of a screen, but it's bigger than your phone. So what are the main ones? So obviously we'll try Netflix first. So there we go, we have Netflix, which is great. We do have Disney Plus, we've got Now TV. Doesn't have Hulu. It does obviously have Amazon Prime, that comes as bloatware with the device. In terms of music, we have Spotify, which is great, and again, there's Amazon Music baked in. Okay, so we mentioned that it doesn't have Google Apps. What does that mean? Well, it means that we're not using Google Maps, we're using Amazon's Maps. It's not a bad map application, but it's still not preferred. I would prefer to use Google Maps. You can still search for locations. Let's just pick a random place, and it will show you the directions to get there. It's not particularly laggy either. Well, I'm saying that while it's dropping frames, but no one really is going to do that with a map. What else does that mean? It means you don't get Chrome, you don't get native Google search features. So instead of using Chrome, we have Silk Browser. Yes, I've not heard of it either. I think it's okay. You can search what you want. It uses Bing as the browser by default. But my point is that unlike other devices, you just don't even have the option to download other browsers. Another key Google application is YouTube. If I search YouTube, you'll see that it'll come up with, not YouTube. What they do are these apps that open YouTube in a browser format, but just make it look as if it's some sort of application. If I compare it to YouTube on here, you can see that this is the app because it actually has the gestures of an app, whereas this one doesn't, and that's because this is the browser format. Actually, this gives a good opportunity to compare the displays. So here we have around 2K resolution quality display, and then here we have, well, I don't even think it's full HD. So here I've got two of the same video running, and I've got both tablets set up to medium brightness. To be honest, I can increase the brightness for this even further, try to make it a bit more equal, I guess, but still it's not the brightness that's important. Quality difference is so apparent. I don't know if it really shows on the camera, but there's a massive difference in the quality. I can see so much more detail in this display compared to that one. But again, we can't expect too much from it. You know, at the end of the day, a lot of people aren't just going to care. So let's look at the performance of this. Well, before I go into that, can I just say, this tablet has an aspect ratio designed for it to be held in landscape mode, but then they put a third of that display literally just as a search bar, and then this freaking inch here for the navigation menu. You're left with a gap about 3 inches wide just to view things from. So all I want to do is end up holding it like this. Well, once it rotates. Obviously, then you have the camera button here. So on a device this small, it really shouldn't be made to be in landscape mode. That's why we don't use our phones landscape, you know, when we're scrolling through apps or when we're typing. Okay, let me get back on track. What I want to do is look at the processing power. So what I can do is open up Angry Birds. It's taking a bit of a while to load up, but we're getting there. So something like Angry Birds, a game that's not graphically intense, it's a 2D game, it shouldn't really struggle with this too much. Yeah. It doesn't seem to be. I'm getting through the game quite easily, not really seeing any stutters, jitters, frame drops or anything like that. Something like Angry Birds, you know, there's more simplistic games. It will run fine. Now let's try and open, once it loads up again, let's try and open Asphalt 9. This is a more graphically intensive app. Now it has this game mode here where it tries to focus in all of its device power and memory into one app, which it should do because it's literally using all the resources it can just to open this.
A few moments later.
Alright, so let's play a quick race. What we're looking for are, you know, any frame drops, you know, lagging, things like that. Alright, so. Oh god. See, that's the thing, it has a power button on the side, literally right exactly where you would hold the device. And it's so easy to press, there's not much resistance to it, so I keep pressing it whenever I'm playing, and that's quite annoying. Yes, we know how to do this. So a bit of lag there, bit of frame drops every now and again. In a game like this, there you go, it keeps dropping frames actually. In a game like this, the occasional frame drop won't make much of a difference. In something like a shooting game, it actually can make a massive difference. But you know, let's not take away from what it achieves. You know, at least it can work to some extent. So I'm actually quite impressed. You know, one, that I had the application, B, that it wasn't completely useless at running it. Overall though, what are my thoughts? Well, listen, if you can get this tablet for, I mean, this tablet's already cheap as it is at £90, but if you can get it for even cheaper, I can't really not recommend it, just because even if you only wanted to use it for YouTube, you can do, and it will make a perfect device. In fact, because it's an Amazon device, what it has is this show mode. If you click on that, what it does is convert the device into a Echo Show, kind of, and I'm sure there are loads of like third-party stands you could get for it, and basically it turns into an Echo Show, so you can use it like you would an Echo Show and talk to Alexa like you would. You can video call, you can use all the controls, you can use a smart home, control all your devices that you have at home like you would with an Echo Show, like your cameras or your thermostat. But really, who's this for? Well, it's for kids, potentially, you know, under the age of 10. It would be a really good tablet for them. You're not going to be worried about them breaking it, throwing it, because it's quite cheap. They're not going to really be using any graphically intensive applications. If they are going to game, it's likely to be you know, things like Angry Birds rather than like Asphalt 9 or Call of Duty. If they want to watch videos, they've got all the mainstream ones, Disney Plus, Netflix, Amazon Prime, you know, YouTube. So it's great for them. If you're an adult, I would only get this if A, you're on a budget, and I mean on a very tight budget. B, you don't care about display quality. C, they can't be doing anything intensive. So emailing, it can email. I mean, it doesn't have Gmail, it only has Outlook, but you do have the generic email application where you can link, I think, any email to that. Again, just watching videos, movies, light gaming, it can do all of that. It can video call, obviously through Alexa. But if you were to go with an Amazon Fire, I wouldn't go for the 8-inch, especially for an adult. I'd go for the 10-inch one, just because this is just a bit too small. I mean, my hands are big, but come on. This could be a phone. For a kid, not a big deal. For an adult, if you're on a budget, go for the Fire HD 10-inch. It's a bigger display, you'll enjoy it more, and it's not that much more. I think it's around one something. But for anybody else, this is not for you, especially if you have a particular app you use. Also, especially if you are a student or someone who wants to note take, this is not a note-taking app. This is not a note-taking device at all. Well, not handwritten notes at least. The main reason I got my Tab S6 was because I have a pen for that, or the main reason why someone might get an iPad is the Apple Pencil. You know, you can write notes on it. There's no writing notes on this. So yeah, basically do some research, see what apps you're likely to use, see if the Amazon store has it, and see if it can run it. And if it can't, I wouldn't get this. And if you really want to use Google services, Google Maps, Gmail, Chrome, again, I wouldn't get this. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. It was quite an interesting one to make. I do enjoy going to the very budget end of technology, what we can get for cheap. And it's interesting to see with, you know, what you can do, because this probably covers 70% of tasks that most people do on their tablet. Anyway, I waffle on. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. It lets me know that you enjoy this kind of content. If you have any suggestions or anything you want to mention, anything that I've missed out, leave it in the comments below, or any questions as well. I'll be happy to answer them. And I'll see you on the next TCal Tech video. So you see, you have some of those productivity features there.